Hello, everyone. Let me turn this up. Well, actually, I'll turn it up when the event actually starts. Let's leave it around there for now. This is the second reaction stream of the day out of three. I'm going to be doing another one on the Spelunkers channel a little bit later for the Forbidden West State of Play. Tyler might be able to join for that. We'll see. That'll be fun. But for this is for Dying Light 2. I'm excited for this game based off of the press's excitement for it at early events that they saw it at. But I'm not a massive Dying Light fan. It's always one I've meant to go back to because I played it probably 10 to 12 hours or something. It's still pretty early on, I would say. I think there's 2 big maps in that game, right? And I don't think I made it to the second one. Maybe I'm thinking of Dead Island, where there's actually 3 big maps, I think. Whatever. Point is, I liked what I played. I just fell off of it pretty quickly, and have not made time to go back. I keep pushing for it to be a game club for the Spelunkers. I think that'd be a very fun one. Yes, I know the event's going on. Thank you, phone. I always set reminders for things for myself, and I rarely need them. So mostly they just end up being annoying. Let's see, I can delete that now. What was the other one I made? No, I already deleted that one. Well, perfect. Great. Excellent. I can delete this one too, honestly. But yeah, I really want to like this game. I really want to play the first one before this one comes out as well. I hear the DLC and everything in it is amazing as well. The following, they just released earlier today the Platinum edition of the game that comes with literally everything. I think I already own the version that comes with everything important. I think the only thing I don't have that I would like to have is the Hellraiser DLC. But I like the game in theory. I just need to play more of it and be like, yes, I do really, really like this. Or, you know, maybe I won't buy Dying Light 2 when it comes back because I'm not super into this. I do worry about being just, excited for the game just based off of Press's early interactions with it and stuff, because Press could not stop losing their minds over how amazing Cyberpunk looked in every preview event, and we all know how that turned out. So for sure, I'm excited to see more of it here. I wonder what they're actually going to show here. I assume the game has changed considerably in the time since we last saw it. It's been a year and a half, 2 years. I think it's only been 1 year since we technically seen a trailer, but since the big reveal where they talked about, how much the world is going to change based on your interactions with it and stuff, it's been a year, 2 years. I want to say 2 years, maybe even 3 years since we had those conversations, since Press and Techland. Techland's the name, right? Yeah, Techland had those conversations. So how much has it changed since then? I'm sure some things have reduced in scope, if anything, would be my expectation, because they were talking a big game about the massive choices you can make and how much you could lock yourself off from or gain access to or whatever, depending on your choices. And that's all very ambitious, very cool, but whether it's made it into the final product, I imagine we'll find out something about today, especially if they're actually announcing the release date, which supposedly leaked earlier today of December 7th. What's up, Jay? How's it going, Travis? You a Dying Light man? Have you played the game? Enjoyed it? Other than that, I don't know really what I want to see. I would like to see co-op. I think the original Dying Light had co-op, right? It'd be pretty cool if this one had 4-player. It'd be awesome. Yes, sir. Awesome. Yeah, I was saying earlier, I've only spent every night roaming the streets. That's awesome. God, that shit scared me so much. Oh, it had 4-player in the original? Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's how I would want to play it optimally. I've only played the first 10 hours of that first game, and I played it all solo. And I was also before I was super into survival horror games, so it scared the crap out of me, and that's a lot of why I ended up dropping it. Played the whole thing with a buddy. Nice. Yeah, I think Ryan was saying either earlier this year or last year that he was playing a little bit with you. I don't know if you guys made it all the way through. At release. Oh boy. What up, Rob? How's it going, man? You also a Dying Light fan? What did it censor? The word idiot, is that what it was? Yeah. That's so funny. Censored it on my OBS studio chat, but not in the actual chat. That's so weird. Awesome. Yeah, hey, if anyone's down for a replay of that game, I would like to play it all the way through at some point. I've been trying to get the Spelunkers to do it as an exploration, and I think some of us are into it, but I'm not sure. They have not said, as far as I know, how long it's supposed to be.
Now run.
Let me know how audio levels are.
Hello guys, nice to
Dying
meet
to
you.
Know,
I'm
episode
Leah,
1.
and this is Dying to Know. If you're dying to know what's going on in the world of Dying Light 2, then you're in the right place. Here we'll be showing you all the news, the latest from the Dying Light world. We'll be announcing a few contests, we'll be talking to developers, and probably most importantly, we're going to be showing you a brand new gameplay trailer where you can see the current state of the Dying Light 2 game. But first, there's someone here I need to introduce you to. It's Aiden Caldwell.
I'm a pilgrim, an outcast, roaming like a Japanese Ronin or an Old West desperado. My past is dark, but my future has a tiny, dying light at the end of this tunnel. Hello, guys. My name is Jonas Scott, and I voice Aiden Caldwell in Dying Light 2. But before that, I'm going to host this program with Leia, if you don't mind.
My pleasure. Well, I'm ready.
Got to interview
Jonah's
the lead
definitely
game designer.
ready,
Awesome.
And I hope you're ready.
So if you're dying to know, just like us, then stick with us.
The story told in Dying Light 2 occurs 20 years after the events
weird to
of
do a
the
transition
first
there.
game. And if you're wondering what happened in those intervening 20 years, well, there's no better person to ask than the Dying Light 2 world director, Thomas Gabao, with who I'll be talking in just a moment.
And after that, I'll be speaking with Pietro Jemenic, the narrative director of the game, so about the characters that appear in Dying Light 2.
World director.
Welcome to the show, Thomas. So the first question I have for you today is, do I need to have played Dying Light 1 to sort of understand what's happening in Dying Light 2?
No, actually, you don't. Like you mentioned before, our game takes place some 20 years later, in a world where humankind has lost the war to the virus. So,
Right.
in a way, you could say that Dying Light 2 takes us to the world beyond the apocalypse.
Intriguing. All right, tell me more, please.
Well, you remember the events of
that
Heron in
sucks, Rob.
2014. Well, after that, world leaders, they had a tough choice to make. They had to isolate the city of Heron.
Right.
For that, they created an exclusion zone. Like in Chernobyl, only a lot more people were left to die inside the walls.
Yeah, right. So they just isolated the entire city. And did it help? Did it stop the virus?
Yeah, for a while it worked. Enough for everyone to forget about it, at least. Only in secret, a handful of scientists continued
Sounds
to
like
study
this.
the
I
virus.
enjoy doing laundry.
You know, manipulating its DNA, creating new strains. They were looking for commercial military applications.
Yeah, doing laundry,
You know,
doing
they were
dishes
doing it for
can
the money,
be-
really.
Yeah,
Cathartic
of
when you're doing
course.
something
So
else.
what happened next?
Well, next, the shit hit the fan. By Christmas 2021, one of these
surprise.
mutated strains escaped from a level 4 laboratory located near Geneva. We don't really know if this was accidental
Yeah, Twitch
or not,
Mobile sucks.
but this time the virus was much faster than any government. Before the world could react, civilization was on the brink of collapse. People were dying in the streets, capital cities were burning. By the end of 2023, 98% of the population had been lost to the virus. There was a few settlements remaining,
Wow.
but only one city was still standing. The last bastion of mankind, our city, Villador, aka the city.
Right, so Villador is what we have left. So that's everything that's happened outside of the city. What actually happens inside Villador?
Well, the city has unique rules. First of all, it's surrounded by seemingly impassable walls. And inside the walls, the people that decided to use a radical new weapon against the infection, which actually gave them the upper hand in the first stages of the
Her
pandemic.
reactions in this
but
are so
also
funny.
created terrifying new monster archetypes. 15 years on, a new equilibrium sort of emerged in the city. By daylight, human factions fight to control the city, and at night, the streets become the realm of these bloodthirsty, infected monsters.
Great. Well,
Great.
that is extremely interesting. Thank you very much, Thomas. And we'll be
Great.
hearing more about the vibrant and fantastic city soon, I hope. But first,
She's
I
doing a
think we
great
need to
job.
hear a
I
little
just
bit
this
more
is just
about
such
the
a
characters.
such an awkward like setup of like interviewing, but then
Our second guest is a
inserting,
man of two industries, cinema
interaction
and gaming.
or
In a previous life,
reactions
he wrote the hit
in the
HBO
interview.
series Wataha?
Bataha, yeah.
Wataha. And then he moved on to Techland to become a narrative director, Piotr Jemenek.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
So we have plenty of time to talk about the rest of the characters in Dying Light 2. There are tons of them. But today, I think we want to focus on Aiden Caldwell, the protagonist. You want to talk more about him? Or?
Yeah, sure. So, Aiden, he's the member of Outcasts, you know? The group of people traveling through this dangerous world of Dying Light 2 called Pilgrims, because he's looking for his relative. The person whom he lost many, many years ago.
you'll love to see
And
it. Yeah.
that person is his only memory from the past, and the only answer to whom Aiden really is.
Aiden is a really rich, deep character, very much cooler than I am.
Oh, no, come on.
I mean, he can run across buildings, jump from rooftop to rooftop, use all kinds of weapons.
Yeah, well, you know, he
This
didn't
is
have much choice.
so
This world
funny,
is
the-
full of infected,
the actor
bloodthirsty
for the
creatures,
character
so he didn't
interviewing
have much choice, right? The
the,
weak
like,
guy, the
that wasn't
strong
the creative
survivor, and
director. I
Aiden,
missed
he
that. I'm
just
not sure
has to
who it
be
was
strong.
exactly.
But why
But
did he come
the
like
character
that?
interacting
Why-
somebody
why
with
he?
somebody asking them
That's
about the
the
character
main
to play.
question of the game.
Very
and
funny.
The player
Narrative
will
director,
have,
okay.
opportunity also to decide how Aiden will evolve. Will he help the weak? Will it distract him from his main goal? Or maybe he will just strive to the end of his search as soon as possible.
I can't imagine trying to survive or live in a city like that as a lone wolf by yourself without any kind of support.
Well, he's not gonna be alone, you know. He will meet many people. But again, depending on the player choices, some of them will become his allies, but some of them will become his enemies. One of the group he will encounter are the Night Runners, the former special force officers who were sick of the army's cynicism and lack of concern for
What up,
common people.
crypto?
But they were brave enough to help the people during the night. And the night, as you know, is pretty horrifying in the game.
Yeah, so Aiden joins the Night Runners.
Oh, that's the question, my friend. The player will have to answer too. I won't spoil the pleasure of discovering Aiden's actions and true motivations, but what I can share with you is the fact that we really put big effort to make this character and many others complex and multidimensional. But there is so much more to be
Oh,
discovered.
hi Skelly.
during
Thanks
the
for the
game.
alert.
Oh, it's fascinating. Can't wait to learn more. Thank you so much, Piotr.
Thank you, thank you.
So before we watch the gameplay trailer of Dying Light 2 for the first time, we need to talk about something which is basically at the center of the Dying Light universe, which is
The community. Over the past few years, Dying Light has
Yeah, I
amassed
saw
over
that. The Platinum
23
Edition,
million
like,
players
they just released.
and a 95%
what is that
positive
message
review
that it
rating on
deleted?
Steam.
which in Steam Talk is overwhelmingly positive. So bravo.
We'd
You
like to
get
take a few
copped.
seconds and thank you guys.
Thank you all for being
Oh,
on this
Link.
journey with us. Thank you for sharing your love with others of Dying Light. And thank you for these great moments spent
Yeah,
together.
just have it there to automatically ban all the freaking bots that are always
Dying
spamming.
Light 1 has some amazingly creative fans, which is fantastic, pardon the pun, because we're going to be starting a brand new contest which will combine your love of Dying Light with that same creativity.
With the release date of Dying Light 2 drawing ever
But
closer,
yeah, I saw that's only
we'd like to extend our
$25,
hand
and I'm
invite you to make
tempted
the
to
community
buy
a little bit
that.
bigger. If
Does
you
the game
find
have
yourself
crossplay?
skilled in the ways of visual
If it doesn't
arts,
have crossplay,
writing,
I will probably
costumes,
pick
and
that up
cosplay,
because
please
I think most
join the
people
Dying
I
Light
know
universe.
have it on
So
PC.
check out dyinglightgame.com/contest, and if you win, there's a fantastic monetary prize on the line. But also, there's some other great rewards you could be in with a chance with winning as well.
Like Platinum Edition of Dying Light. Look at this. This is the finest edition of Dying Light ever made. This is the Platinum Edition of Dying Light.
Yeah, I figured
It
this
has
was
every
probably
bit of
supposed to be an
content ever
announcement. They
released
just
for Dying Light
released
in
it
one
earlier.
place. It's massive. I mean, look at it.
For those of you who haven't experienced Dying Light yet, we are introducing Dying Light 1 Platinum Edition. It's the biggest and most complete edition to have ever existed.
And we're offering it to you now at an historically low price. All the
Stay
content,
outside every
lowest
night.
price.
There's
You're a
literally
brave man.
no better time to buy than now, and you can get it on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Get your Platinum Edition of Dying Light now. This is the best offer, like, ever. I guess we don't have time to go over everything that's in the Platinum Edition, but it is everything. This is how it looks.
I have like the edition that came before this that I think has everything except for Hellraid, as far as I know. Did anybody play Hellraid, by the way? That looked really cool. But I never heard like any reviews or anything on it. I also heard great things about the following DLC.
Okay, so I'm excited because you guys are in just a second gonna see the official gameplay trailer for Dying
Yeah,
Light
honestly,
2.
I think
And
I'm gonna
after
bring
that,
up
we're gonna interview
one
some
more
of the devs that
time
made
to
it
the
possible.
Spelunkers that
So,
would be a
without
really
further
good game
ado,
exploration.
here
See if they're
it
down.
is.
Maybe we
Hey,
can
everyone.
plan that for later this year.
We've been quiet for some time, since, like the rest of the world, we had some unforeseen hurdles to clear. But the wait is over. Let's dive into the open world of Dying Light 2.
That seems fun.
The last slice of Dying Light 2 showcased the mission from the main storyline.
You get after those fuckers.
You saw how your decisions influenced the narrative and notably changed the environment. This time, we want to give you a broader look at the game and a sneak peek at some of the things we'll be talking about in upcoming months.
Traversal in this
In
game, I
Dying
remember
Light
being
2, you become
amazing.
Aiden Caldwell,
The first game.
an outsider trying to unravel a tangled mystery from his past. Its trail leads him to the city, probably the last
I thought it was
bastion
only
of
two
mankind in the world.
player, and Jay just informed me today that it is 4, which is awesome.
At first, you feel like this intense, brutal place will tear you apart. But then you meet the Night Runners, veteran survivors who help people in better days.
By the way, I'm Hakon.
Well, you're playing this right now, Skelly, right?
Help people, remember?
With
Night
the
Runners
gray?
are gone.
Middle gray?
Finished. A myth.
And although it's
The
not
first one, I mean.
entirely clear you can trust them, you need allies in the dark.
Ban the spoiler.
And these are the modern Dark Ages. It's been 15 years since the apocalypse and the world has changed. The old civilization has fallen, but a new one has been built on its ashes. People fight desperately for scarce resources. Rules are broken, and weakness is punished.
She's innocent!
3 factions struggle for position in the city. Survivors pride themselves on being able to adapt to any circumstances and cobble together safe zones almost everywhere. Peacekeepers, loyal soldiers who want to impose their version of law and order and trample all in their path. Renegades, ex-prisoners serving their ruthless colonel, seeking to become sole rulers of the city.
Where is Waltz?
Where is he?
Use these factions to reach your goal. Help or harm them to reshape the city to your liking. Just remember, each faction contains complex characters.
Nosy Parker, ain't ya? Got some kind of bad habit of yours?
So, will you follow cold calculation or your heart?
The Bazaar needs good people. Help us and you'll find a home here.
Some in the city offer no chance for an alliance. Bandits, outlaws, and common thugs live only to plunder and kill, plunging the streets into chaos. Yet,
This looks very good.
scares all of them equally.
Good night, good luck.
Darkness changes the rules of the world. As the light fails, monsters crawl out of hiding to prey on the poor souls caught outside the safety of UV rays. Hordes of infected pour into the streets like decaying lava. The deadly spawn of 15 years of mutation and evolution. Your only escape? Exploit the city's verticality and flee to the roofs.
Apparently not for Jay.
Even there,
Jay is a very
you are
brave
never
man.
safe from swift and deadly virals. Or even greater threat. Yet night brings opportunity as well. Nests rife with infected during the day now lie empty. To explore them, you must tread carefully. But those brave enough to face the terrors of the night can loot a jackpot. Luckily, you have all the tools you need to survive. Your extraordinary parkour skills allow you to navigate even the most treacherous terrain.
The traversal is so good. Oh man, that was quite the jump.
On the roofs, you can count on your parkour acrobatics to save your life.
Oh, running
But
jump kick
often, you have
Kiryu
to
style.
face your enemies head on. And then you have to be smart, resourceful, and determined. We've worked hard on the essence of our combat, making sure swinging a big, meaty weapon is fun, satisfying, and well executed. But even the most brutal fights can be tactical as well. You have multiple ways to hone your skills toward the gameplay style
That is a
suits
lot
you
of
best.
dismemberment.
It's up to you
Jesus,
if you
just
focus
giant
mostly
curb
on
stomp
mobility and
smashing a guy's
parkour,
face.
or
Ridiculous.
aggressive, blunt force combat, or a crafty approach where the tools you've created get the job done. Every ability you learn can be a game changer and possibly a new favorite move.
That man had a hook shot.
Things move fast and quick in Dying Light 2. Each moment matters. Each move could mean triumph or defeat. Choose your actions and friends carefully. Everything you do in the city can reshape the gameplay environment, change the course of the narrative, and decide the fate of the city's residents.
Jesus.
But most
That man's fine.
importantly, you decide your own fate as well.
You're about to turn.
Make sure to stay human.
An extensive post-apocalyptic world. And I really like that divisiveness, you know, the life on the roof and then death on the streets.
Yeah, like the intensity of the day and the night cycle together.
Yeah, it's almost like Dying Light 2 is two different games put together into one.
Yeah, like despite that, despite all the brutality going on the ground
Sure.
floor, there's something about like the rooftops and the plants. and
It's
stuff.
cozy.
Yeah, I kind of want to be there. But it does
No, you
feel
don't.
like every decision is vital. Like your choices actually do have some consequences.
Choices and consequences are incredibly vital to Dying Light 2's gameplay. And we're going to interview some devs and talk about some other very vital gameplay mechanics.
Dying Light 2.
Our next
Different
guest
games.
is Adrian Pizza-Shizevsky. I
Welcome, and that gameplay looked awesome. I know we can't wait to get our hands on it, but congrats.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like you guys have a very unique world and a very unique game. Where y'all get your inspiration from?
Oh, that was a research. We did a deep dive into the history of our world, and we found repetitive patterns. We found that people use the same behaviors in the past after the fall of civilization or after the fall of the nation that's supposed to be a backbone of our world. So our approach was super simple. We just copycat those behaviors and attitudes and show you how our world would look like after the fall. However, it's kind of obvious that the main reason that civilization fall is virus pandemic or eventually the economic
that's
collapse.
the big question,
that's basically obvious
Skelly.
thing. But it's even
Because
darker
they've been
if
touting
you
that
connect
since day
those
one, how
things
big
with the research
the
we
impact
did
of your
in-
decisions
at
is.
the beginning of the
But a
production.
lot of games
So
tout that,
people
and
will question
very few
everything.
get it right.
They're gonna blame everything and everyone that's supposed to guide us in our lives every day. So they're gonna blame governments, they're gonna blame
Whoa,
law,
Genetics,
they're
thank
gonna
you for
blame
gifting 2
science,
subscriptions.
or even religion.
Amazing.
Some people might ask themselves that where was God when it happened to us, basically, you know? So I feel that all of those
Crypto
things
and Miggy
together
Piggy, welcome to the
create
Dream Team.
sensation that it's a giant step backward for our civilization.
So, Dying Light 2 has a subtitle, Stay Human. What does that mean?
Well, it's super hard.
Is that actually the
to-
subtitle?
To remember those
Like, the
values
case on the
that
shelf
makes us human.
says stay human?
Like compassion or support. So the entire fall that those dark times we have is a big test for everyone. And I think it's even harder test because to stay human, people would sacrifice what's the most important for them or sometimes risk their lives.
Wow, so that's like really intense. And there's like the obvious like double meaning to it, which is what I was thinking. Stay human, don't become a zombie.
Yeah, but one disclaimer, those are not zombies, you know?
Oh.
Those are infected people that turn to be a monster. They're just crossing a line, you know, and they're turning to be a monster, you know? Because in Dying Light we all infected. Yeah, we all
There.
wearing this biomarker, you know it, and you're wearing this, I'm wearing this. That's a watch, actually, but you know that, you know? So
I
that's,
love
that's
developers
the thing.
making
So that
zombie
the
games
challenge
getting
is
really
to
picky
not
about
cross
what
this
you call
line
their
at all
zombies,
costs. So
because they're
that's
never
the
zombies.
biggest challenge of staying human in this meaning.
I see, yeah, not zombies.
Not zombies.
Not zombies.
At all.
People who've crossed the line.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
fascinating.
It
Thank you
always
so much, Avery.
funnels
We're
somewhere.
definitely
It
gonna
has
be
to
hearing from you
funnel
again
somewhere,
soon.
right? Because
Thank you so much.
otherwise, where do you finish developing your game, you know?
We have with us Katarzyna Tarnacka, the environmental art director.
Hi. And we have game designer Michał Duzak.
Hello. So, choices and consequences. The player has to make a choice, and they have to experience or endure the consequences. What does that mean?
Basically, the whole system of choice and consequences is really, really complex. I would say the best way to describe it is that player is making the decisions based on 3 layers. First one are the choices that you do during the main story missions. And those big changes are actually can change the whole game or even how the story ends. The second layer are choices that you do while the quests. And those choices can actually influence the mission itself. And the last one, the last
Yeah, I
layer
remember seeing that
is
as well,
so-called city
Travis,
alignment
and
system. And I, as a open world game
Like,
designer, would like to focus
as somebody who won't
Please
replay
do,
the
go.
game,
All right, so
that probably won't
water and
replay the game
electricity
because it's a very big
are
game.
basically
Like,
key to survive in
it sucks
every
to
world.
be like, okay,
By
I'm missing
restoring
content
it,
here and
player
there,
can
but it also
not only
creates a lot
unlock
of
the
conversation,
water or
especially you know, now that I'm part
electricity
of
in the area,
all these online
but he can
communities, like
also, based on
Draftpunks
his
and
decision,
Spelunkers.
assign it to one of the
It creates a lot of
factions,
conversation
which
points
will
of here's how
influence how the
my
district
game
looks
played
like,
out,
or
and here's
who's
how
gonna
my
live
game played
inside of
out,
it.
and here's
But
how
it
my game
also,
played out,
what is
and
pretty
comparing and
more
contrasting
important
those,
for a
I think is
player,
really interesting.
Unlock
and
new
fun.
tools for him, like unique tools for each
It's
faction.
definitely much more bold
like
than, you
card
know,
traps, zip lines, or trampolines.
Your decisions will
Player
create
can
slightly
use an
different
exploration
dialogue
to deal
options.
with bandits
It's
or infected,
more
or
ambitious than
simply
that,
to move faster
seems
to
like.
the city. So basically, based on your choices, you shape the game environment, which gives you a different experience every time you start a new game. And what is worth mentioning here that Dying Light 2 is playable up to 4 co-op players. So you can host the game or join other players and see how their choices
Yeah, that
came
would be
up
a
differently
good
to
one
your
for
own.
sure, especially if we do end up doing the first game.
There's one thing I'm really curious about, though. Night versus day. How does the gameplay differ from the night and the day?
Well, the short answer is that day is for humans and night is for the
I think there was a leak earlier
But to
today
describe it a little bit
with
better,
the
I would
release
say that
date. Well, I
during
know
the
there was a
day,
leak earlier today with the release date. I just don't know if
humans
it's
in factions,
legit or
bandits
not.
or survivors
December
traveling into
7.
the city and searching for some scraps or someone who might have them. And this is the best time for a player to explore the city, meet its citizens, learn the stories, day-to-day agenda, or even simply help them in a quest or open world activities to survive those dark ages.
Yeah, and that sounds quite pleasant, but I'm
The
guessing
funk path
night
versus the
changes
monk path.
everything.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
amazing.
During the night, all the infected get out of the buildings. And compared to the Dying Light 1, the night is going to be even more intense this time. Intense in terms of the amount of enemies, the new types, and new, more aggressive behaviors. And what is important, this time night can mean also opportunity. An opportunity for the players who are courage and skilled enough to use the fact that all the infected are outside and buildings are accessible to explore them and search for the most valuable loot in the game.
Katarzyna, you're responsible for the post-apocalyptic look of the city. Can you tell us a little bit how about the city became to look that way?
Yes, I guess the important thing to realize is in 2025, a decision was made to use a chemical attack to stop the spread of the Haran virus. And the result is a tight ring of chemically active areas around the city. Some of the chemicals have gotten into the groundwater and spread under the surface, killing every living plant and every living thing in its reach. What it means for the city is that the street levels are virtually dead.
Crypto,
The soil is,
you're not
unable
even a
to
real
sustain
Dying Light
any
fan.
life,
You're
any
a fake-ass
plant. And
Dying
the
Light
street level
gamer
is
boy.
a domain of the monsters, just decaying in every aspect.
Wow, so it sounds like there's just no healthy organic life down there at all.
Not really. The survival on the street level is pretty tough. So the common people are just visitors there. But the life prevailed. It moved up to the rooftops. And this is where the plants are flourishing and blooming in the post-apocalyptic landscape. And this is where people build and develop the new world of Dying Light 2. Electricity producing windmills and safe zones for the player. And in a way, in a metaphorical sense, the rooftops are the new default ground floor, the level 0. And trip to the streets is
Dying Light is super fun to traverse, super fun to kill zombies in, super fun for the first 12 hours, but then it just kind of stops and ends and you never play it again. I thought it was a really weird decision to just have the game randomly stop as soon as you hit the 12-hour mark. So that's not the best. I give it like a 7 out of 10 for, you know, being really, really good, but just suddenly ending for no reason, and I never understood why.
With us now are Bartosz and Peter. And guys, I have one question about the open world in Dying Light 2. How big is it?
It's pretty big.
We know that. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes, of course. The map in Dying Light 2 is divided into 2 huge regions and several zones. Okay. There are plenty leftovers from the lost civilization for you to scavenge. But we didn't want our players to perceive the map only horizontally, so we see the map as a multi-level 3D world that supports your traversal and helps you solve parkour puzzles.
Yes, in-house we call it multi-layer open world exploration. And you know, the movement system from Dying Light 1, we remove every restriction from the
the garden up top is very pretty looking.
Do it. And when I think about it, I think that was
in this
very,
very
to create the geometry that supports
disgusting
all
drab
of that.
open
and
world.
I think we did it well. Doing the
I don't know
same
if drab is
thing
a fair
in Dying Light 2 wasn't our goal. We want to make one or more step forward to surprise the player expectation. That's why we doubled the number of parkour moves.
Doubled, and I mean, it's not like there was a shortage in Dying Light 1, so what?
Yes, the iconic Dying Light 1 parkour is essential there. We improve it. We double the number of parkour moves. The players will see over 3,000 different parkour animations. From the basic move, through the trees,
parkour,
to the small little tasty details there that you can see it.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop you there, but don't hate me because in the next episode, we're going to be talking more about parkour and how the team have managed to make an authentic urban running experience in Dying Light 2.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the information. Bartosz, Peter, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
It is very tied to the office, I think, for a lot of people.
Okay, so the last and arguably the most important question I'm sure you have is, when is the release date?
Yeah, that is a very, 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 very important question.
And luckily, we have the answer. And that answer is the 7th of December!
Waited years to say
The
that
leak
out
was
loud.
real.
And now that we know the release date of the game, it's time for you to go pre-order it. Go to dyinglight.com/pre-order, select your platform, and then hit pre-order.
Yeah.
There you go. Congratulations. You
I'm
just
so glad you
pre-ordered
said
one of
that,
the
Jay,
most
because when I saw the
anticipated games of this
leak
year.
earlier today, I was like, ooh, maybe I should draft that. And then I was like, it's totally going to get delayed to 2022, isn't it?
Oh, wow. I want one.
Well, I've got good news for you then, because this official figurine is part of the collector's edition of Dying Light 2, and you can get one for yourself if you want. We'll leave like a proper unboxing of the whole set to the professionals, but we do have it all in front of us right now, so it'd be rude not to take a look. You get, in the collector's edition, a concept art book
Yeah, and
full
the
of
Min-Max
stunning
leagues
artwork
were
from the
limited
game.
to 2
You
drops,
get this,
and I have
steelbook, which will have
2
your
games that are
inside
not
it, of
guaranteed
course.
to come out this
and
year
you get
already.
this interesting little sort of UV flashlight, so yeah.
Cool. Looks like there's all sorts
So I
of
worry
vanity
about
elements
drafting
in it,
anything
too, like
else
some legendary skin
that
packs,
I'm worried about.
as well as all sorts of
Sports
digital
Story is
elements.
one of them.
For more
Trying to remember
information
what
on
the
these
other
digital
is.
elements, please visit the pre-order website. I want this, and I want Dying Light 2.
Kind of thought you'd say that. Well, if you're feeling the same way, then I've got good news, because you can pre-order the collector's edition. However,
Stay
it
Human
very,
is on the box.
very limited,
I
so you'll have
had never
to be
heard that
very
before.
quick.
Rest assured, there will be
Is that
plenty
like a
of the
new thing,
standard
that
edition
being the
for your
subtitle?
standard gamer. But if you're into special editions, there is a deluxe edition of Dying Light 2 with a steel book, legendary pack, and a digital soundtrack, and much, much more.
So to summarize, that's 3 different editions
Oh, Elden Ring
that
is
you
the
can
other
buy
one.
depending on
And
what you're
then
after.
that's probably not coming out this year, it seems like, at this point.
And if you just can't wait until release to get immersed in the world of Dying Light 2, then why don't you go check out the Techland Gamers and Goodies website for more info.
Yeah, this is a program for all gamers, whether or not you want updates on Dying Light 2 with the news, or you want Dying Light 2 items in Dying Light 1.
Yeah, what
Everyone's
it
gonna
is
find something they like.
essentially,
Yep,
genetics
and,
is
this is just
you
an initial
draft
offering
games
as well.
at the beginning of the
Check
year
back
and then
later
throughout the
for
year that
even
you
more
think are going
details,
to
more
score
information, and we'll
well
be going through it in
on
future episodes as well.
opencritic.com, which is just a critic aggregator like Metacritic.
That's it. Don't forget to
And then
pre-order the
you
game
get
and
points
take
for
part in our
games that score
contest.
well, you
Details
get
on the
negative
game's
points for
website.
games that score
And
poorly,
here's a sneak
and you get
peek
one
at the
counter
topic
pick
of the next
to
episode. Thank you for
pick a
watching.
game that you
Stay
think
safe
someone
out
else
there.
has picked that you
Bye.
think is going to score really poorly. It's very fun. It's a fun little competition thing to track throughout the year, but not something you have to think about all the time, which is great. Sweet. This will be an excellent game to play through Christmas. Yeah, it is very cool. It's very fun. What was Bob Beal's counter pick? Mass Effect Legendary Edition. That's rough. That's rough. Yeah, I mean, I remember his argument now, and it makes sense, sort of. But like, I mean, people could have just been like, it's just the same game. They haven't really done anything. 7 out of 10. But even then, I mean, 7 out of 10 doesn't score you any points on a counter pick. So, I think in our league somebody counterpicked Returnal. That one did not turn out well for them. And somebody counterpicked It Takes Two as well, which obviously did not turn out. That one, both of those, because they're new IPs, you know, there was valid reasoning for counterpicking them. But definitely did not turn out well for them. Oh no. Currently in the negative overall? Oh my god, I don't think there's anybody in our league that's negative right now. No negative. Oh, never mind. Krispy Kreme Lemur is at -3 for the It Takes Two counter pick. And also Tyler would be winning the league if he had not counterpicked Returnal, but instead he's sitting at 13. But yeah, it's so fun. You should definitely do one next year, Genetics. We'll probably start one actually within Spelunkers. I might still do a Min-Max one too, though. I like being part of a bunch of them. And DraftBunks obviously has one as well. Which, with how big your guys' community has grown, I imagine you'll probably do more than one next year. So many drafts. Yeah, I did that the first like 2 years that they did that or something. We used to talk about it. Open spot for the podcast one. I want in on that. I want in on that so badly. You have no idea. I'll crush you all. Anyways, that was a pretty good presentation. I don't know how I feel about the fact that they're gonna do the what was the game? Cyberpunk, the Cyberpunk thing of like constantly pumping out these episodes, showing off small little details, rather they keep it like big events. Because this felt pretty big, but I imagine, you know, when they do episode 2, it probably won't have a new gameplay trailer to go with it or anything, so I don't know how exciting that'll be, you know? But I will be back in an hour and a half on twitch.tv/Spelunkers. Which I'll put in here. I will be doing reactions to Horizon Forbidden West, the gameplay reveal for that. And I might be joined by Tyler. He's the only one who might be able to make it, most likely. But if anybody else wants to jump in there, I will be in the Hangout in the Spelunkers Discord. You can just jump in and talk about Horizon with me. It'll be fun. Bye, guys.